The storm came without warning that night. Thunder shook the mountains and lightning cut across the black sky like angry white snakes. Kung Tae-woo stood at his window, watching the rain hit his apple trees. He worried about the fruit. The harvest was only 2 weeks away. He was about to turn away when he saw it. A ball of fire fell from the clouds. It was not lightning. It moved too slow, too steady. It crashed somewhere in the mountains above his orchard, with a sound that made his bones shake. Tae-woo did not think. He grabbed his jacket, his flashlight, and the medical bag he always kept ready. Old habits from his army days never died. He had been a medic once, saving soldiers in places he tried hard to forget. Now, he grew apples in the quiet village of Woolharry. Far from everything, the rain soaked him in seconds as he climbed the mountain path. His legs burned, but he did not stop. If a plane had crashed, people might be hurt. People might be dying. What he found was not a plane. The trees were broken and pushed aside in a long line. At the end of that line sat something impossible. It was metal, but not like any metal Tae-woo had ever seen. It glowed faintly purple even in the rain. Strange symbols covered its surface. Smoke rose from cracks in its body. Tae-woo's heart beat fast. His mind screamed at him to run, but then he heard it. A soft sound. A moan of pain. He moved closer. Part of the strange machine had broken open. Inside he saw bodies. 2 of them were clearly dead, their forms too strange to be human, their eyes empty. But the third one moved. She looked almost human. Almost, her skin was pale silver, like moonlight made solid. Her hair was white as snow, spread around her head like a fan. Dark violet blood ran from a wound on her forehead. She opened her eyes. They were purple, deep, and endless, like a night sky full of stars. Tae-woo knelt beside her. "Can you hear me?" "I am here to help." She said something in a language he did not understand. Her voice was weak, broken. Then her eyes closed, and she went limp. He checked her breathing. She was alive, but barely. The wound on her head was bad. There might be more injuries he could not see. He needed to get her somewhere warm and dry. Tae-woo was not a large man, but he was strong from years of farm work. He lifted her carefully, surprised by how light she was. Her silver blood stained his jacket as he carried her down the mountain through the storm. His farmhouse was small, but warm. He laid her on his bed and began to work. He cleaned the wound on her head. The blood was silver, but it acted like normal blood. It clotted. It stopped flowing when he applied pressure. He stitched the cut closed with steady hands, just as he had done for wounded soldiers years ago. She had other injuries. Broken ribs, he thought. Burns on her arms? He did what he could. He wrapped her ribs. He treated her burns. He covered her with blankets when she began to shiver. Then he sat in a chair beside the bed and watched her breathe. 3 days passed. Tae-woo did not sleep much. He changed her bandages. He dripped water into her mouth. He talked to her even though she could not hear him. He told her about his orchard, about his grandmother who had raised him here, about the apple trees she had planted with her own hands. "You need to wake up," he told the strange silver woman. "I am not a good cook, but I make excellent apple tea. You should try it." On the 3rd night, her eyes opened. She sat up fast, then cried out in pain from her broken ribs. Tae-woo gently pushed her back down. "Careful. You are hurt. Do not move too fast." She stared at him. Her purple eyes were wide with confusion and something else. Fear? Maybe. Or wonder. "You," she said. Her voice was rough, but he understood her now. "You saved me. You were hurt." "Of course I saved you. Why?" The question confused him. "What do you mean, why?" "You needed help." She kept staring at him like he was the strange one, like he was the impossible thing. "Among my people," she said slowly, "the injured are left alone. To accept help is shameful. To give help without being asked is an insult. It suggests the wounded one is weak." Gua frowned. "That sounds terrible." It is our way." "It has always been our way." She looked around the small room. At the wooden walls, the old photographs, the simple furniture. "Where am I?" What world is this? World. You are on Earth, in Korea, in my grandmother's house. He paused. You are not from Earth, are you? No, I am Lyra, third daughter of the Valoran Empress. My ship was attacked by enemies of my family. My guards are dead. My transport is destroyed. She tried to sit up again, wincing. I must send a signal. My people must know I am alive. You can do that later. Right now you need rest. You do not understand. I am a princess of the Valoran Empire. My mother rules 40 star systems. I cannot stay here in this primitive place. Taewoo was not offended. He had been called worse things by drill sergeants. Princess or not, your ribs are broken. You have lost blood. You cannot even stand without pain. Stood up and walked to the door. I will make soup. You will eat. Then you will sleep. Tomorrow we can talk about signals and empires. Lyra watched him go with an expression she could not name. No one had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever told her what to do. She was royalty. People bowed before her. People feared her mother's name. But this human just walked away to make soup. She lay back against the pillow. The bed was simple but soft. The blankets smelled like apples and wood smoke. Outside she could hear rain still falling, but gently now. Somewhere in the house, she heard the man moving around, the sound of pots and water. He had saved her. He had carried her through a storm. He had treated her wounds and watched over her for 3 days. He expected nothing in return. He did not know she was a princess when he found her. He did not care now that he knew. Humans, Lyra whispered to herself. What strange creatures you are. When Taewoo returned with a bowl of warm soup, she was crying. Silver tears ran down her silver cheeks. Does something hurt? He asked, worried. No, she said. I do not know why I am crying. This does not happen to me. Valorans do not cry. Taewoo set the soup down and handed her a cloth to dry her face. Maybe you are just tired. It has been a hard few days. Lyra took the cloth. She looked at this simple man with his kind eyes and his quiet voice. She did not understand him at all, but somewhere deep inside her, in a place she did not know existed, something warm began to grow. Thank you, she said. For the soup. For everything. Taewoo smiled. You are welcome. I'll eat. You need your strength. And for the first time in her life, Princess Lyra of the Valoran Empire felt something she had never felt before in all her years among the stars. She felt safe. Weeks passed like water flowing down a mountain stream. Lyra healed slowly under Taewoo's care. Her ribs mended. Her burns faded to pale marks on her silver skin. She grew stronger every day, but she did not leave at first. She told herself it was because she needed to repair her emergency beacon. The device had been damaged in the crash, and fixing it required parts she did not have. She spent hours working on it with tools Taewoo found for her. But somehow, the work went very slowly. The truth was something else. The truth was that Lyra had never experienced anything like this world. Like these people, like this man who had saved her life, she began helping around the orchard. At first, Taewoo refused. You are still healing, he said. You should rest. I am not made of glass, she replied. Show me how to pick apples. So he did. He taught her how to twist the fruit gently so it came free without breaking the branch. He taught her which apples were ready and which needed more time. He taught her to carry the heavy baskets without hurting her back. It was hard work, harder than anything Lyra had ever done. As a princess, servants had done everything for her. She had never cooked a meal, never cleaned a room, never worked with her hands. Now her hands grew rough. Her muscles grew sore. And somehow, she felt more alive than she ever had in her palace among the stars. The villagers accepted her slowly. Taewoo told them she was a foreigner with a rare skin condition. People nodded and did not ask too many questions. Koreans were polite that way. They brought food instead. An old woman named Mrs. Park brought fresh kimchi. A farmer named Mr. Cho brought vegetables from his garden. They expected nothing in return. This confused Lyra deeply. Why do they bring gifts? She asked Taewoo one evening. They do not know me. I've done nothing for them. That is just how people are here. Neighbors help neighbors. It is normal. Among my people, nothing is given freely. Everything is a transaction, a trade, power for power, service for service. Taewoo shrugged. That sounds exhausting. One day a young woman came to the farm. Her name was Yoon Hannah. She ran the small clinic in the village and had been Taewoo's friend since childhood. She had sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. So Hannah said, looking at Lyra carefully, "You are the mysterious guest everyone is talking about. I am Lyra. I can see you are not from around here." Hannah's eyes moved over Lyra's silver skin, her white hair, her purple eyes. "Very far from around here, I think." Lyra felt her heart beat faster. This woman was suspicious. "I have a medical condition. It affects my appearance. I am a doctor. I have never seen any condition like yours." Hannah smiled, but it was not a warm smile. "However, Taewoo trusts you, and I trust Taewoo. So I will keep my questions to myself." For now, after Hannah left, Lyra felt worried. She knows something is wrong. "Hannah is smart," Taewoo agreed, "but she is also loyal. She will not cause trouble." More dangerous was Taewoo's cousin, a young man named Kong Joon-ki. He was a university student with too much curiosity and too much free time. He visited the farm often, and his eyes always followed Lyra with wonder. "You are an alien," he said one day, catching Lyra alone in the orchard. "I know you are. I went to the mountains. I found the crash site. I saw your ship." Lyra's blood went cold. "You are mistaken." "No, I saw the metal. The symbols. It is not from Earth." Joon-ki's eyes were bright with excitement, not fear. "This is amazing. Actual proof of alien life? Do you know what this means? It means nothing. There is nothing there. You saw nothing. I took photographs." Lyra grabbed his arm. Her grip was stronger than a human's, and Joon-ki winced. "Listen to me carefully. If you tell anyone about this, people will come. Dangerous people. Government people. They will take me away. They might hurt Taewoo for hiding me. Is that what you want?" Joon-ki's excitement faded. He looked scared now. "I know. I do not want that." "Then delete your photographs. Forget what you saw, please." He stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Okay, I will keep your secret, but can you at least tell me about your world? About the stars? Just between us?" Lyra released his arm. She saw the wonder in his eyes, the hunger for knowledge. It reminded her of herself when she was young, before the palace crushed her curiosity under rules and duties. "Perhaps," she said, "someday, if you prove you can be trusted." That evening, Lyra sat with Taewoo on the porch of his farmhouse. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. The apple trees stood in neat rows, their leaves rustling in the gentle wind. "Your cousin knows what I am," Lyra said. Taewoo nodded calmly. "I know. He cannot keep secrets. His face shows everything. You are not worried? Joon-ki is young and foolish, but he is not cruel. He will keep quiet." Taewoo looked at her. "The real question is, what do you want to do? Your beacon. Have you fixed it?" Lyra was quiet for a moment. "It is almost ready. I could send a signal tomorrow if I wanted, but you have not." "Why?" She did not answer right away. She watched the sunset, the colors she had never seen on any other world. She listened to birds singing, a sound that did not exist in the cold silence of space. She felt the wooden porch under her, real and solid and simple. "I have been to 100 worlds," she finally said. "I have seen wonders you cannot imagine. Cities made of light, oceans that sing, moons made entirely of crystal. But I have never felt like this." "Like what?" "Like I belong somewhere. Like I matter not because of my title or my mother's power, but because someone chose to help me. Because someone made me soup when I was hurt. Because someone taught me to pick apples. She turned to look at him. You make no sense, Kang Tae-woo. You have nothing. You are no one important. You live alone on this tiny farm on this tiny world, and yet you are the happiest person I have ever met. Tae-woo laughed softly. I am not always happy. I get lonely. I miss my grandmother. Sometimes I wonder if I wasted my life coming back here instead of staying in the army or going to the city. He paused. But this is my home. These trees, this land, these people, they are mine to care for. That gives my life meaning. Meaning, Lyra repeated the word like it was something new. Among my people, meaning comes from power, from conquest. From making others bow before you, that sounds empty. 'Tis. I never realized how empty until now. They sat in silence as the last light faded from the sky. Stars appeared, distant and cold. Somewhere up there was Lyra's home, her mother. Her duty? She would have to go back eventually. She knew that, but not tonight. Tonight she would sit here with this strange human, who had turned her world upside down. Tomorrow she would decide what kind of person she wanted to be. Tomorrow she would fix the beacon and call her people. But tonight, she let herself feel something she had never allowed herself to feel. Before she let herself feel hope, the ship came on a clear autumn morning, when the apple trees were heavy with fruit, ready for harvest. Lyra felt it before she saw it. A pressure in her mind, a familiar cold touch. Valoran technology. Valoran telepaths scanning the area. Her people had found her. She dropped the basket of apples she was carrying and ran toward the farmhouse. Tae-woo, Tae-woo, you need to hide. He came out of the barn, confusion on his face. What is wrong? They are here. They have come for me. The sky split open. Where there had been empty blue, now there was metal. A Valoran warship hung above the orchard like a mountain floating in the air. It was black and silver, shaped like a blade, beautiful and terrible. Tae-woo stared up at it. His face showed no fear. Only wonder figures appeared from nowhere. They materialized between the apple trees, soldiers in dark armor, carrying weapons that hummed with deadly energy. Their faces were hidden behind masks that glowed with purple light. At their center stood a figure without armor. A woman, tall and terrible, with skin like polished marble and eyes like frozen stars. Her white hair floated around her head, as if gravity did not touch her. Power radiated from her, like heat from a fire. Empress Vorath had come herself, Mother Lyra said. Her voice was steady, but her hearts were pounding. Daughter, the Empress did not smile. She never smiled. You have caused considerable trouble. The entire fleet has been searching for you. We feared you dead. I survived. As you can see, I survived on a primitive world. Among primitives. The Empress's cold gaze moved to Tae-woo, who stood with his hands at his sides, watching calmly. This creature, it has been caring for you. He saved my life. How unfortunate for him. The Empress raised her hand. Two soldiers grabbed Tae-woo, forcing him to his knees. He did not resist. He did not cry out, Mother, what are you doing? Release him. The protocol is clear, Lyra. Primitive species that encounter Valoran royalty must have their memories erased. We cannot have knowledge of our existence spreading among lesser beings. It causes complications. He is not a complication. He is a good man who helped me when I was dying. His goodness is irrelevant. Commander Sarek. A massive Valoran stepped forward. His armor was more ornate than the others, covered in symbols of rank and achievement. Commander Sarek was the greatest warrior in the Empire. Undefeated in 1,000 battles, he bowed his head to the Empress. Yes, Your Majesty. Prepare the human for memory extraction. Full erasure. Then return him to his dwelling. Make it appear he has been ill. It will be done. No. Lyra stepped between Sarek and Tae-woo. I will not allow this. The Empress's eyes narrowed. This was new. Her daughter had always been obedient, quiet, proper. This defiance was unexpected. You will not allow. You forget yourself, child. You are not Empress yet. You do not give orders here, and I am asking. Please, Mother. He does not deserve this. He has done nothing wrong. He has done nothing wrong. He has contaminated you. Look at yourself. You wear primitive cloth. You smell of dirt and fruit. You speak of this human with warmth in your voice, as if he matters. The Empress's lip curled with disgust. You have been here too long. Your mind has been affected. We will repair the damage when we return home. My mind is not damaged. For the first time in my life, my mind is clear. Lyra took a deep breath. Mother, I have learned things here. Things about humans that you do not understand. They are not like us. They are not like any species we have conquered. They are weak. Their bodies are fragile. Their lifespans are pathetically short. Their technology is primitive beyond words. Yes, all of that is true. And yet they are also kind, generous. They help strangers without expecting reward. They share food with neighbors. They care for the old and the sick instead of abandoning them. They feel emotions we have forgotten how to feel. Lyra's voice grew stronger. They love, Mother. Do you even remember what that word means? The silence that followed was terrible. Empress Vorith's face could have been carved from ice. Her eyes held a fury that had destroyed worlds. You speak of love. You dare to speak that word to me. Her voice was quiet, which made it more frightening. Love is weakness. Love is what primitives feel because they are too simple to understand power. We are Valoran. We do not love. We rule. Then perhaps we have lost something important. The Empress turned away from her daughter. She could not look at her anymore. Commander Sarek, proceed with the memory erasure and confine my daughter to the ship. She is clearly unwell. Soldiers moved toward Lyra. She did not run. There was nowhere to go. Taewoo spoke for the first time since the soldiers had grabbed him. His voice was calm and clear. Lyra, she looked at him. His eyes were warm, even now. Even with soldiers holding him, even facing something worse than death. I want you to know, he said, that I do not regret any of this. I found someone who was hurt and I helped them. That was the right thing to do. Whatever happens next, that does not change. Commander Sarek stared at the human. You understand what we will do to you? We will tear every memory from your mind. The process is painful. Most primitives do not survive it intact, I understand. And yet you do not beg. You do not plead for mercy. Would it help if I did? No. Then why waste the effort? Taewoo smiled slightly. Besides, I have nothing to beg for. I did nothing wrong. If you want to punish me for being kind, that says more about you than about me. Sarek did not know what to say. In all his years of service, he had never met a prisoner like this. Prisoners screamed. They begged. They bargained. They tried to run. This human just smiled. Lyra felt tears running down her face again. Silver tears that marked her as emotional, as weak, as everything a Valoran princess should never be. She did not care anymore. Her mother was wrong. Her people were wrong. For 10,000 years, the Valoran Empire had conquered and ruled and forgotten how to feel anything real. They had become powerful, but empty. Strong but hollow, and this simple human farmer, with his apple trees and his kind heart, was worth more than all of them. In that moment, Lyra made a decision. A decision that would change everything. She remembered the old laws, the ancient traditions that even her mother could not break without destroying the foundation of Valoran authority. There was a way, a path that no one had walked in centuries, but that still existed in the sacred texts. It was insane. It was impossible. It would shock the entire empire. She was going to do it anyway. Lyra stood tall. She wiped the tears from her face. When she spoke, her voice rang out with a power that made even the soldiers pause. I invoke the right of bonding. The words fell like stones into still water. Empress Voroth spun around. Her composure cracked for the first time in decades. What did you say? The right of bonding. The ancient right of any royal to claim a mate of their choosing, a choice that cannot be denied by any authority, even the Empress herself. That law is ceremonial. It has not been used in 500 years. The law still stands. You taught me that yourself, Mother. The old laws are the foundation of our power. Break them, and everything falls apart. Lyra walked toward Taewoo. The soldiers parted before her, uncertain what to do. She stopped in front of the kneeling human and placed her hand on his shoulder. Then she turned to face her mother. "This is the man I desire as my husband, mother." The silence was absolute. No one moved. No one breathed. Empress Vorith's face showed something it had not shown in many years. Fear the Valoran. Warship's council chamber was cold and dark. Lights floated in the air like captured stars, casting strange shadows on walls made of something that was not quite metal and not quite stone. Lyra stood in the center of the room, alone, except for Taewoo, beside her, and 100 hostile eyes watching from the shadows. Her mother sat on a raised platform, surrounded by advisors and guards. Her brother Kale stood at the Empress's right hand, his face twisted with disgust. Commander Sarek waited like a statue of war, perfectly still and perfectly dangerous. "This is madness," Prince Kale said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "A human. She wants to bond with a human. This primitive animal that cannot even read thoughts or survive in space without machines? The rite of bonding is clear," said an old Valoran, with white eyes and robes covered in ancient symbols. He was the keeper of laws, the one who remembered every rule ever written. "Any royal may claim any mate, regardless of species or station. The law does not specify that the chosen must be Valoran, because no one imagined a princess would be stupid enough to choose something from a savage world." Kale stepped forward, pointing at Taewoo. "Look at him. He is nothing. He has nothing. His entire species has never left their own planet. They kill each other over territory and beliefs. They destroy their own environment. They are barely above animals." Taewoo listened calmly to the insults. He had not spoken since Lyra made her declaration. He had simply watched and waited, trying to understand what was happening around him. "May I ask a question?" he said now. Everyone stared at him. Primitives did not speak in council chambers. Primitives did not speak at all unless spoken to. "You may not," Kale snapped. "Let him speak, Empress," Vorith said. Her voice was flat, controlled. The shock had passed, replaced by cold calculation. "I am curious what a primitive has to say for itself." Taewoo looked at Lyra. "You did this to save my life, to stop them from erasing my memories." "Yes, partly." Lyra met his eyes. "But that is not the only reason. What are the other reasons?" "I told you before. You make no sense. You have nothing, but you are happy. You help strangers without expecting reward. You treated me with kindness when you had no reason to." She took a breath. "In all my years, among all the species of the Empire, I have never met anyone like you. I have never felt what I feel when I am with you. I do not know what to call it, but I do not want to live without it. Without you." Council chamber was silent. Valorans did not speak of feelings. Valorans did not admit to emotions. What Lyra had just said was as shocking as her declaration of bonding. Taewoo nodded slowly. "Okay, but I need you to answer honestly. Is this what you really want? Not to save me. Not to make a point to your mother? Do you actually want to spend your life with me? A human farmer from a tiny world you had never heard of?" "Yes." Lyra's voice did not shake. "I have never wanted anything more." Taewoo smiled. It was a small smile, quiet and warm. "Then I accept. Whatever that means here. Whatever I have to do." Prince Kale made a sound of disgust. "This is absurd. Mother, you cannot allow this. The royal bloodline, polluted by primitive genetics. The other noble houses will revolt. Our enemies will laugh at us. I am aware of the implications, Kale." The Empress's voice cut through her son's complaints like a blade. "Do you think I want this? My daughter bonded to a creature that will be dead of old age before she reaches middle years? The embarrassment alone could destabilize the throne and refuse the right," Kale demanded. "Execute the human and confine Lyra until she regains her senses." "I cannot." The words seemed to hurt the Empress to say. The rite of bonding predates the Empire itself. It is one of the founding traditions that give our authority legitimacy. If I break it, I give permission to every noble house to break whatever laws they find inconvenient." She closed her eyes. "The old ways bind us all, even me. Then find another way." The Empress opened her eyes. Something had changed in them. A cold light. A cruel calculation. "The right has conditions," she said slowly. "The chosen mate must prove themselves worthy. If they cannot, the right is void." The Keeper of Laws nodded reluctantly. "This is true. The trial of worth. 3 challenges to test the chosen one's value. If they pass, the bonding proceeds. If they fail, they die," the Empress finished. "And the claiming royal is confined for 100 years as punishment for their poor judgment." Lyra's face went pale. "Mother, no. The trials were designed for Valoran physiology, telepathic ability, physical strength far beyond what humans possess. He cannot possibly, then you should have thought of that before invoking ancient rites." The Empress's voice was ice. "The law is clear. He must face the trials or forfeit his claim. If he forfeits, you will be confined and he will be executed for wasting royal time. That is not fair." "Life is not fair, daughter. You are learning this late, but you are learning." Tewu stepped forward. All eyes turned to him again. This small human, who should have been trembling with fear, who should have been begging for mercy, he was not trembling. He was not begging. "I will do it," he said. "The trials. Whatever they are, I will face them." Kale laughed. "You do not even know what they are. Primitive. Does it matter? If I refuse, Lyra suffers. If I fail, I die. If I somehow succeed, we can be together."
Aiwu shrugged.
"The choice seems simple. You will fail. You will die screaming, maybe. But I will try." He looked at Lyra. "That's what we do. Humans. We try. Even when it seems impossible. Even when everyone tells us we cannot win. We try anyway."
Out.
Commander Sarek spoke for the first time. "Why? What is the point of trying when defeat is certain?" Tewu thought about the question. "Because giving up is a kind of death. Because walking away from people who need you is not living, just surviving. Because the trying itself means something, even if you lose." He paused. "Where I come from, we have a saying. It is not about whether you win or lose. It is about how you play the game." Sarek stared at him. "That is foolish, maybe. But it is also why we are still here. Humans. We should have died out a dozen times. We fought ice ages, plagues, wars, disasters. We kept going. We kept trying. We are too stubborn to know when to quit." The chamber was quiet. Even Prince Kale had nothing to say. Empress Vorath studied the human with new interest. He was not what she had expected. Not a cowering primitive. Something else. Something she did not have a name for. "Very well," she said finally. "You will face the trial of worth. 3 challenges. The hunt to test your body. The mind to test your spirit. The sacrifice to test your heart." She leaned forward. "No human has ever faced these trials. No human has ever needed to. You will almost certainly die." "It's almost certainly is not the same as definitely." Tewu bowed his head slightly. "When do we begin? Tomorrow? You will have tonight to prepare." "To say goodbye?" Empress smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Use the time well, human. You will not have much left." As the guards led them away, Lyra grabbed Tewu's hand. Silver fingers wrapped around human ones. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I thought I was saving you. Instead, I have sentenced you to death." Tewu squeezed her hand gently. "You gave me a chance. That is more than I had before." He smiled at her, warm and real and unafraid. "Besides," your mother said almost certainly, "I have beaten worse odds, you have." "No, but there is a first time for everything." Despite everything, Lyra laughed. It was a strange sound in this cold ship full of cold people. It was the sound of something new being born. Hope, against all reason, against all logic. She began to hope. The first trial began on a forest moon far from Earth. The sky was green, and 2 suns burned overhead. Taewoo stood at the edge of a dark jungle, wearing only simple clothes and carrying no weapons. "The hunt, Commander Sarek announced. You must track and subdue the car beast. It has killed over 30 warriors who tried to face it. You have until the second sun sets." Taewoo looked into the jungle. He could hear something moving in there. Something big? What do I know about this beast? It is fast. It is strong. It hunts by smell and heat. It fears nothing. Sarek almost smiled. "Good luck, human." Taewoo walked into the jungle. For hours, he did nothing but watch. He found tracks in the soft ground. He studied broken branches. He listened to the sounds of the forest. The Valoran observers grew bored. They expected action, violence, blood. Instead, this human just sat and looked at dirt. Slowly, Taewoo began to understand the beast. It was territorial. It followed the same paths every day. It drank from a certain stream at certain times. It was dangerous, yes, but it was also predictable. He did not have Valoran's strength, so he could not fight it. He did not have Valoran's speed, so he could not chase it. But he had something else. Something humans had used for thousands of years. He had his mind. Taewoo built a trap. He used vines and branches to create a cage over the beast's favorite drinking spot. He covered it with leaves until it was invisible. Then he climbed a tree and waited. The beast came at sunset. It was huge, covered in scales and spines, with teeth like knives. It walked to the stream, sniffed the air, and began to drink. Taewoo cut the vine holding the trap. The cage fell. The beast roared with fury, thrashing against the branches. But the trap held. Taewoo had woven it too well. The Valoran observers were silent with shock. He did not kill it, one said. The trial was to subdue, not kill, another answered. He has completed the challenge. Commander Sarek stared at the trapped beast, then at the human climbing down from his tree. His expression was unreadable. The first trial is past. Barely, the second trial was worse. They brought Taewoo to a dark room aboard the warship. Telepaths surrounded him, their minds pressing against his like cold hands trying to force open a door. "The mind," the Empress announced. She watched from a throne of black crystal. "You will face your deepest fears, your worst memories, your greatest failures. If you break, you die." Now the telepaths attacked. Taewoo was thrown into his own past. He saw his grandmother dying in a hospital bed, her hand thin and cold in his. He saw the faces of soldiers he had failed to save, boys who had bled out in his arms while he screamed for help that never came. He saw every mistake, every regret, every moment of shame and guilt and sorrow. The Valorans expected him to shatter. Their own people sometimes broke under this test. Memories were weapons, and everyone had wounds they tried to forget. But Taewoo did not fight the memories. He did not try to push them away. He accepted them. He sat in the darkness of his own mind and let the pain flow through him. He looked at his grandmother's face and remembered not her death, but her smile. He looked at the fallen soldiers and honored their sacrifice instead of drowning in guilt. He took every terrible memory and found the love hidden inside it. The telepaths pushed harder. They could not understand what was happening. This human was not fighting. He was not breaking. He was accepting. "Grief is not weakness," Taewoo said aloud, his voice calm in the silent room. "It is proof that we loved. I carry my pain not as a burden, but as a reminder of everyone I have cared for." The telepaths pulled back. They could not break what did not resist. "The second trial is past," Commander Sarek said. His voice held something new. Confusion, perhaps? Or respect. The third trial was the worst of all. They gave Taewoo a choice, a sacrifice, the Empress said. "You may walk away now. Return to Earth with your memories intact. Live the rest of your short life in peace. Lyra will be confined, but in 100 years, she will be free. You will be dead by then, of course, but she will recover eventually." Taewoo looked at Lyra, who stood silent among the guards. "Or," he asked, "or you face the final combat. You fight Commander Sarek himself. If you somehow survive, the trials are complete. The Empress leaned forward. No one survives Commander Sarek. He has killed thousands. You would die in seconds. And if I walk away? I live, but Lyra suffers for 100 years. That is the choice. Your life, or her happiness. Taewoo was quiet for a long moment. Everyone watched him. Surely now he would see reason. Surely now the primitive survival instinct would take over. I will fight, he said. Prince Kale laughed. You are insane, maybe? Taewoo smiled. But walking away from someone who needs you is not living. It is just surviving. I would rather die trying than spend the rest of my life knowing I abandoned her when she needed me most. The combat arena was a circle of white stone surrounded by thousands of Valoran observers. News of the humans' trials had spread across the fleet. Everyone wanted to see this strange creature who had passed two impossible tests. Commander Sarek stood waiting. He wore no armor. He needed none. His body was a weapon, honed by centuries of training. He had killed things far more dangerous than a human. Taewoo faced him with empty hands. You should not have come this far, Sarek said. You should have taken the escape when it was offered. Probably, Taewoo agreed. But we do not always do what we should do. Sometimes we do what we must do, Sarek attacked. He was faster than anything Taewoo had ever seen. The first blow knocked Taewoo across the arena. He felt ribs crack. Blood filled his mouth. He stood up. Sarek hit him again. And again. Taewoo went down each time, his body screaming with pain. But each time he rose. Minutes passed. An hour. The Valoran audience fell silent. They had expected a quick execution. Instead, they watched something impossible. The human would not stay down. Sarek broke Taewoo's arm. He stood up. Sarek kicked him in the chest hard enough to stop a heart. He stood up. Again and again, the greatest warrior in the Empire struck down this fragile human, and again, the human rose. Why? Sarek finally demanded. He was not tired. Valorans did not tire easily, but he was confused. Why do you keep standing? You cannot win. You must know you cannot win. Taewoo spit blood onto the white stone. His vision was blurry. His body was broken in a dozen places. But he was still standing. Because she believed in me, he said. Because giving up means proving everyone right about humanity. Because even if I lose, I want her to know that I tried, that I did not abandon her. He raised his fists, even though one arm hung useless at his side. So hit me again. Keep hitting me. I will keep getting up. That is what humans do. We endure. We survive. We do not quit.
Derek stared at him.
In 1,000 years of combat, he had never faced anything like this. Not skill. Not strength. Something else will? Enough. Everyone turned. Empress Vorith had risen from her throne. The trial is over, she said. Her voice carried across the silent arena. He has passed. Prince Kale stepped forward. Mother, he did not defeat Sarek. He did not win. The trial was never about winning. The Empress walked down to the arena floor. She stopped in front of Taewoo, looking at this broken, bleeding, impossible creature. The trial of worth tests worth, not strength. And worth. She paused. Worth is not measured in victories. It is measured in what someone is willing to sacrifice for what they believe in. She turned to face her people. This human was willing to die for my daughter. He faced impossible odds without flinching. He showed more courage than warriors who have conquered worlds. Her voice hardened. Perhaps we have underestimated his species. Perhaps there is value in them we did not see. She looked at Lyra, who was crying silver tears without shame. The rite of bonding is fulfilled. My daughter may claim her mate. Lyra ran to Taewoo. She caught him as his legs finally gave out, holding his broken body in her arms. You fool, she whispered. You impossible, stubborn, wonderful fool, did I pass? He asked. His voice was weak, but he was smiling. You passed. You passed everything. Good. He closed his eyes. I think I need to sleep now. 3 months later, Taewoo stood in his grandmother's orchard. watching strange figures move between the apple trees. Valoran visitors, their silver skin glowing in the autumn sun, learning to harvest fruit by hand. Lyra walked up beside him. Her simple dress was stained with dirt and apple juice. She had never looked happier. "Your mother sent another message," Tewu said. "She wants us to attend some ceremony on the homeworld. We should go. It would help with the alliance negotiations." Alliance negotiations. Tewu shook his head. "I still cannot believe this is happening. Humans and Valorans, talking as equals. Not equals. Not yet, but a beginning." Lyra took his hand. "That is because of you. Because you showed them what humanity really is. I just refuse to give up. That is not special."